Hey Travis, is this a good time?
Hey there, Emily. Sure, I'm good right now.
First off, I'm glad to hear you were released from the hospital.
Thanks, it's great to be out.
And you're coming back home tonight, right?
Yep, I'm actually almost at the station already.
That's great.
I should be getting there right on schedule at about 4:30.
I'll come and pick you up.
Thanks, Emily.
Seriously though, collapsing on the job from overwork? That's just insane. When I heard that you were taken to the hospital in an ambulance from your office, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. And that's not even your regular assignment. You were only transferred from the main office temporarily because the branch office was short-staffed. And here I am, your fiancé, unable to come and see you because you're so far away. I feel so bad I haven't been able to support you, Travis.
You don't need to feel bad about anything, Emily. I'm sorry I made you so worried about me, but I'm fine now. I'll be going back to my regular duties at the main office next week, so I'll be able to relax and get back into the swing of things at my own pace. Plus, I think this experience has given me some great insights that the company can use going forward related to creating a positive working environment. So when I think about it, there are actually plenty of silver linings to me being in the hospital.
Oh, Travis, you're such an optimist. Oh, and by the way, there was something my dad wanted to ask you about.
Yeah, what is it?
He wants to know if you have some free time tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't go back to work until next week, so tomorrow should be fine.
Apparently there's something he wants to ask you to do before you go back to your regular job at the main office.
Really? Any idea what it is?
He said he'll give you all the details when he sees you tomorrow. He was planning on meeting up with you for lunch if that worked for you.
Sure, that'll be fine. When should I head over there? Around 11:30 or so?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll let my dad know you're coming. Excuse me, I'm looking for Travis. Is this the correct number?
Yep, that's me. I presume this is Ms. Butler, right? I'm actually on my lunch break right now, but is there something I can help you with?
My understanding is that this is your very first day working at the main office after being assigned to a branch office, right? And you collapsed from overwork while there?
Yes, that's right. Although to be more precise, it was only a temporary assignment at that branch office.
Temporary?
Yes, I was originally stationed at the main office. For a number of reasons, I was temporarily stationed at the branch office in Fieldsburg for a few months, but boy, I had no idea how heavy the workload was going to be. Right before I was scheduled to end my assignment in Fieldsburg and come back to the main office, well, I kind of just collapsed all of a sudden and was in the hospital for 3 weeks.
I see. However, I don't understand how you could have had that hard of a workload.
Honestly, it was a big surprise to me, too.
If I had to venture a guess, the only reason you were sent to that pathetic little branch in the middle of nowhere was because you were nothing but dead weight at the main office in the first place. That's the only reasonable explanation. Only an incompetent slacker would be overworked in such an unimportant position. Of course, I suppose there's always the possibility that you simply faked your health scare in order to avoid having to do your job.
No, I wasn't faking it. I was actually pretty sick. They wouldn't have kept me there for 3 weeks before releasing me if that weren't the case.
In any case, it seems as though you managed to spend your entire morning simply going around and talking with the heads of each department. Do you really think someone in your low position has any need or reason to do that? I expect you to be doing your actual job in the afternoon. Hey, Travis. Well, it's been a few days. How's it going back at the main office? Are you getting along all right?
Well, let's just say I had a less than pleasant encounter with a colleague.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good. What happened?
Do you know a female manager named Butler?
Oh, yeah, I do. She got transferred to the main office from a local branch office around the same time you came back from the hospital. She's actually pretty well known around here for, well, a couple of reasons. First, getting appointed to a high-level managerial position at 38 years old, like she was, is pretty rare here. So her superiors apparently saw some sort of potential in her. But she also has a rather, how should I put this? Let's call it a strong personality.
Yeah, that sounds about right. To be honest, though, we've been working together in the same office for the last several days. But I haven't really seen anything from her in either her work or personality that would merit her being placed in a high leadership position.
Really? What makes you say that?
So, this is something that happened on my first day back. All I had planned for that day was making the rounds and speaking to the heads of all the departments in the morning, then straightening out my desk and getting things organized in the afternoon. But once I got back from my lunch break, there was this absolute mountain of papers stacked on my desk with a note on top saying, "Get these to me by the end of the day." I mean, really? I hadn't even had the time to turn on my computer yet, so this wasn't something that I was going to be able to get done that day at all. But that wasn't even the worst part. Then I picked up some of the folders and checked their contents. It looks like Butler had started working on a bunch of it, but they were full of spelling mistakes, grammatical errors, miscalculations. It was awful.
Yikes, that's not good.
And the other people in the department were pretending to be working intently on one thing or another, but they weren't actually getting much done. It's like they were putting on a show.
Now that you mention it, I did hear a rumor about your department. Apparently, when you walked into the office this morning, all the other people in the department started trembling. Everyone except for Butler, that is.
I'd imagine that's because I did the unimaginable. The official narrative was that I had been sent over to the Fieldsburg branch as a form of unofficial punishment. No one who gets sent there ever comes back, so it was kind of like they were seeing a ghost.
Yeah, or a zombie or something.
And by the way, don't worry about those guys. I've got my eye on all of them. I even managed to get a couple of apologies out of them for what happened before.
That's my Travis. You work fast.
That's what they pay me for. Still, though, it would be for the best to remain cautious for the foreseeable future.
I can't say I'm surprised, Travis. You put the bare minimum effort required into the assignments you were given and spent the rest of your time playing around on your computer.
Excuse me, Ms. Butler. We work on the same floor, and your desk is barely halfway across the room from mine. Can I ask why you're texting me instead of coming to my desk and speaking to me in person?
Unbelievable. You really don't get that I'm trying to avoid disturbing the other employees?
Nope, I really don't get it. When I saw your text, I assumed that it must have been something urgent, but that doesn't seem to be the case, so what can I do for you?
What happened to the work I left for you earlier this week?
If you're referring to the massive pile of folders you dumped on my desk, none of that is any of my responsibility in the first place, so I passed them along to the people you should have given them to.
You did what?
Furthermore, the number one priority for me for the next several days is the creation of a report from my time over at the Fieldsburg branch. Didn't you get the memo?
Oh, don't patronize me. Of course I got that thing. However, I am the senior manager of this department, and as such, you take your orders from me and no one else. Your number one priority is whatever I tell you it is. Good grief, how incompetent can you be? I can't take it anymore. You're through. I don't need any more old men in my life just taking up space. You're fired.
Old?
You're 32, aren't you? Well, that's old enough for me to call you old.
All right, well, I suppose you're free to see me as being old if you like, but what makes you think you can fire me? Senior managers don't have that sort of authority.
What's that? You think that just because I'm a woman that I have no authority in the company? Oh, let me assure you, someone as elite as myself is more than capable of ending your career. Clear out your desk. You'll receive your pink slip in the mail within the week.
Is that so? Well, that's unfortunate. I got called an old man by a 38-year-old woman.
What? Let me guess, it was Butler, right?
You guessed it.
Wow, well, if she thinks that you're an old man at 32, I can't imagine what she must think of the married man she's dating right now.
Oh boy. Does that mean...
You guessed it. The investigation is still kind of ongoing, but I can confirm with full confidence that all the rumors are 100% accurate.
Well, looks like we have all we need.
all that we need and more.
Then I suppose it's time to make our move.
Oh, this is getting really exciting. Travis, what's the meaning of this? You've got a lot of explaining to do. I told the HR director to process your termination, but when I opened an envelope sent to me from his desk today, I wasn't expecting your pink slip. It was mine?
Why do you seem so surprised? The fact that you're texting me to complain about this right now would imply that you've at least seen the recent HR department announcement.
Well, yes, I saw it, but it doesn't make any sense. Why are you the new head of the corporate HR department? I mean, what happened to the previous director?
The same thing that's happening to you right now, Ms. Butler. He's been terminated.
Terminated?
I don't think I need to explain why a senior manager and former HR director having an extramarital affair together would lead to this outcome, Ms. Butler.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is that so? Well, regardless, we've been investigating the two of you.
You can't be serious.
It's bad enough that you personally sought out an affair with a married man, but to make matters far worse, the former HR director then used his position within the company to give professional favors to you, his mistress.
I knew that's what this was all about. You think that a woman could never make it in the business world without sleeping with her boss.
Ms. Butler, I've worked with, under, and above many talented women in my career, and after working with you for all this time, I can say with confidence that you are not one of them.
You wouldn't know talent if it came up and slapped you in the face. You think I was promoted illicitly? Well, what about yourself? How did a low-level employee like yourself all of a sudden get promoted to HR director? Which one of your bosses are you sleeping with,
I was an assistant director before, so I was already just one promotion away from the position.
You were the assistant HR director at your age?
I skipped college and started working right after high school, so I have a substantial leg up on people in my age group in years of experience. It also probably has something to do with the fact that I've been with this company since it was founded.
You joined this company straight out of high school?
Yep. My family's circumstances made it difficult for me to go to college, so I'd already planned on not going. With a bit of luck, I managed to earn the respect of the current company president, so he brought me into the company, and, well, the rest is history.
Hold on just 1 minute. If you were really such a promising employee, then why on earth were you shipped off to the Fieldsburg branch? Everyone knows that's where the company sends all the people who they can't fire to keep the damage they cause to a minimum. Think about it, everyone calls it the graveyard branch. Once you go there, you never come back. They just wait for you to retire or quit, whichever comes first.
Yes, that's exactly what sort of place it is. Which is why all the other main office employees who were bitter that despite my age and lack of a college education, I was on a first-name basis with the president, were so happy when I was transferred there. For them, this was a sign that their constant hazing, bullying, and harassment had finally paid off. I can imagine their shock when I became the first employee in the company's history to return to the main office from the graveyard branch.
How? What sort of trick did you pull to make that happen?
It's true that the Fieldsburg branch has been treated as the end of the line for tenured employees that the company doesn't know what to do with, and that reputation is precisely why I was sent over there. The board of directors has been working on a plan to turn the Fieldsburg branch from a liability to an asset for years, and they came up with the idea to send me over there to work on ongoing employee training and working environment improvement. It took a lot of time and effort, but after a few months, I managed to finally make some tangible, positive changes there. And when I say a lot of effort, I mean a lot of effort. So much so that by the end of my time there, I was so exhausted that I ended up having a health episode that took me 3 whole weeks to recover from. So, while my return was delayed by that slightly, I finally succeeded in my mission and have made my pre-planned return to the main office.
But I didn't hear anything about that initiative.
Oh, and by the way, when I came back to work, the company president made a special request of me.
From the president himself?
First, it was to find out whether the rumors of you having an affair with the former HR director were true, and once that was confirmed, to investigate whether your mysteriously rapid rise through the ranks to senior manager was a result of that affair. And now that my investigation on both points has been completed and my report submitted, the two of you have each received your well-earned punishments.
Oh, this can't be happening. Are you saying that you've been watching me ever since you came back to the main office?
That's precisely what I'm saying, yes.
I had no idea.
And with that, I've said all I had to say, and since you seem to have finally come to understand the situation, I'll go ahead and take my leave here. Enjoy the rest of your day, Ms. Butler.
Wait, but this means that it's now public knowledge that I was cheating on my husband. Oh no, this is bad. Oh, very bad. What am I going to do if my husband finds out? Oh, you're not going to tell him, are you? Travis? Travis!
Ms. Butler's behavior was utterly shocking for a married woman. Naturally, both Ms. Butler and the former HR director were divorced by their respective spouses, and they broke off their relationship as well. Also, since they had kept their illicit affair going for around 5 years, their spouses were awarded tremendous damages during the divorce proceedings. Furthermore, since the two of them were fired for cause, they both lost their pensions. Combined with the child support payments they now had to pay to their spouses as a result of losing custody of their children, they both had to take on a tremendous amount of debt. Word of their actions spread through the region, making it impossible for either of them to find a new job at the same pay grade they were at before. They had no choice but to take hourly wage positions at local businesses. This was the event that sparked the great spring cleaning of the company by the father of my fiancée, the company's president. What's more, he's been telling me lately that he wants to pass the reins of the company on to me after he retires. It really is an honor to have him think so highly of me. I had nothing when he brought me into the company, and now I have a home, a family, and a future secured, all thanks to him. I intend to work as hard as I can to live up to his high expectations.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Good morning, Tony. Can you believe it's almost time? The rest of our life begins tomorrow.
Morning, Carly. Yup, it really is tomorrow. Ain't it crazy how quickly it came round? By the way, Carly, I'm sorry to keep asking you this, but are you sure you're really okay with our wedding being so small?
Are you really bringing this up again? I'm not in contact with any of my relatives, and I haven't been back to my hometown in over 10 years, so there aren't many people I can invite. Why do you keep raising this issue when I've already told you this? I don't see the point in having a huge, extravagant ceremony where most of the seats are empty.
I see. Yeah, you're right. Sorry for bringing it up again. I'm a one-time divorcee with a kid, but this is your first marriage. I hear all the time about how much women love having huge weddings, and I guess it just played on my mind. I don't want you to be disappointed, that's all.
It's fine, really. Sure, there are girls like that out there, but I'm not one of them. For me, a small ceremony with just me, you, and your friends and family is enough. I promise you I won't complain, Tony. I wouldn't like having lots of people fussing over me anyway. I've always been the shy type, you know?
Got it. I really am sorry I keep bringing it up. I won't mention it again.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I know you only do it because you care. That reminds me, will you be bringing Beth with you tomorrow?
No, I decided against it in the end. She'd probably be grouchy if I woke her up that early. I think aligning her with my schedule would be too stressful. I dropped her off at my folks' place in the next town last night, and they'll be bringing her with them in their car tomorrow. Besides, I wouldn't know the first thing about getting a little girl dressed up for a wedding. I feel much more at ease knowing my mom will be dealing with all that. Can you imagine me trying to do her makeup?
Now that you mention it, I think it's for the best. I guess your folks having her works out for everyone, what with me and you being so busy. All right, see you tomorrow.
Yep. Remember, we're all meeting up at 8 a.m. outside the venue.
Tony, is now a good time?
Oh, hey, Mom. Sure, I'm not too busy right now. Is Beth behaving herself?
Oh, Beth's being just delightful as always.
I guess I didn't really need to ask. I feel blessed to have such a well-behaved daughter.
Anyway, Tony, Beth just told me something a little worrying, so I decided to message you.
Worrying? What's wrong?
She's here with me now. She's going to tell me what she wants you to know, and I'm going to write it all down here word for word. Do you have time? I'll put everything she says in brackets.
Wow, is everything okay? This sounds serious. Sure, I have time. Go ahead.
Dad, you can't go outside tomorrow.
Why not, Beth? You do know your daddy's getting married tomorrow, right?
A girl was looking at your girlfriend with a sad face.
A girl was looking at my girlfriend with a sad face? What's that supposed to mean?
You can't get married tomorrow. Carly's a liar.
Beth! What are you talking about, honey?
Tony?
Mom, is that you?
Yes.
What the hell is Beth talking about? I don't understand any of this at all. I know she's never been Carly's biggest fan, but isn't this all a little nuts on the day before our wedding? What's gotten into her?
Listen to me, Tony. Did you make sure to find out about how Beth felt about you and Carly getting married?
Huh? Well, sure, of course I did. She's my daughter, and proposing to Carly wasn't a decision I made on my own. I made sure to consult with her first and make sure she was comfortable with everything before going ahead with it. When Beth gave us her blessing, I proposed and started making the preparations for the wedding. But I would never have done any of it if I wasn't sure Beth was happy. My daughter always comes first, Mom.
I see. Listen, Tony, the thing is, this is just my subjective feeling, so I wasn't even sure whether I should tell you in the first place, but to be totally honest with you, I feel compelled to.
What is it?
I know Beth can be a little sensitive at times, but I've gotten the impression she's been afraid of Carly for some time now.
What? Afraid? But why? Even though she gave us the go-ahead for the wedding?
I think there's a pretty good chance she was hiding her true feelings because she didn't want you to be upset with her. She might have been worried about how you'd react and didn't want to cause any tension or drama between the two of you.
Hiding her true feelings?
Do you think maybe she picked up on something important just before the wedding? And this is why she's saying all this now?
Like what exactly?
Well, wouldn't it have something to do with what she just said to you now? It seemed awfully like she was hinting at something.
I guess it did.
Are you free? Do you think you could come over for a little while to talk this through with her? I think there are some things that are best discussed in person, Tony. Besides, she's only 6 years old. I don't think she has the vocabulary to express what she really means over messages.
Yeah, you're right. I'll be over in a jiffy.
Tony, I was confused when you showed up at my house out of the blue, but I never expected you to call off the engagement. What the hell's gotten into you? We're supposed to be getting married tomorrow.
I'll be calling the venue first thing tomorrow morning to let them know the wedding's off.
No, wait, you can't do this to me. Why? I don't understand.
You mean you can't think of any reason whatsoever why I'd want to break things off with you?
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
Did you really think I wouldn't find out?
What are you talking about? I swear I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
When I stopped by at your house earlier, did you think it was the first time I came over today?
Huh?
I needed to confirm something, so I stopped by at your folks' place this afternoon.
Wait, what? Since when do you know where my mom and dad live?
I was blessed with a miraculous opportunity to find out. I intentionally went without announcing my arrival beforehand, and when I got there, I knew I made the right decision. Because when I did, I met a woman claiming to be your mom who you told me was dead, and a little girl who referred to you as Mom. Who exactly is that little girl to you, Carly?
She's one of my relatives' daughters. You see, she has this dumb habit of calling all of the grown-up women in our family Mom. We've been trying to get her to stop, but she won't listen.
Your relatives? Your family? Hang on a second, Carly. Didn't you tell me you have no family?
Oh, that? Well,
So there are other members of your family who are alive and kicking?
No, she's, my friend's daughter.
Drop the act, Carly. I'm done with your crap already. I know everything, so there's no point in trying to hide it. How about you just be honest and make this a lot easier for us both?
What do you mean?
I decided to do a little digging after meeting your dead mom and the girl who called you Mommy.
Digging?
Nothing too crazy. I just went around knocking on a few of the neighbors' doors to see if they could tell me anything that might help make sense of all this. After you went back to your apartment where you live on your own, I found out that she is in fact your mother and the girl is your 4-year-old daughter.
Wait a sec. No way. Did my mom tell you that?
Your mom came clean because she felt bad for me about all the lies you'd subjected me to. Don't be mad with her. You made me believe this was your first marriage all along, didn't you? You lied about being childless, too. It turns out you were a one-time divorcee with a little girl just like me all along. Well, not exactly like me. I divorced my wife because I found out she was cheating on me. But in your case, you betrayed your husband by cheating on him with the gardener and tricked him into believing you were pregnant with his kid when it was in fact your lover's. That was the little girl I found out lives with your mom earlier today. I can't believe you'd try to hide something so important from me. We were supposed to be getting married tomorrow, Carly. I feel like you've plunged a dagger straight through my heart with your lies.
Please, Tony.
Is it true that the only reason you ever wanted to marry me was because you knew my family comes from a long line of rich banking magnates, and I'm set to inherit their massive fortune when my dad dies?
Oh my God, she told you that too?
Holy crap, can you believe I was gonna marry you tomorrow? I would have actually gone through with it if no one had told me about your suspicious behavior. Talk about dodging a bullet.
My suspicious behavior? Wait, did someone tell you about me?
You were witnessed with your daughter by a certain individual I happen to be very close to. That person saw your daughter calling out to you over and over again, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy." Then she saw you flat out ignore her while she desperately continued trying to get your attention with the most dejected, heartbroken look on her face.
What? Someone saw that?
Yes, and you should know we're not just talking about once or twice here. This is just a guess. But do you think maybe your daughter felt like you were abandoning her so you could marry me? In her eyes, I'm sure I was just some strange old man. Anyway, that was my hunch, and I trusted it. So I decided to go ahead and get the evidence I needed to prove it. After finding out about all this crap, there was no way I was ever gonna go through with the wedding, so I naturally broke off the engagement.
Who saw us? Who told you all this?
That's gonna have to be a no comment.
What? But why? Why do all my secrets have to be exposed? Why won't you tell me yours? This isn't fair.
This isn't a game, Carly. I have no obligation to tell you where I heard any of this. But you did have an obligation to tell me about your past, given the fact tomorrow was supposed to be our frickin' wedding day. Besides, I can't risk telling you who spilled the beans to me because I know you might try to get revenge. I'm keeping my mouth shut for their safety, and it's really important to me to protect them from any potential backlash. If you knew who it was, things could get messy, and I don't want to put them in a tough spot. You hid things from me that you had no right to hide. Marriage is about openness and honesty, and I can't spend the rest of my life with someone who can't even do the basic decency of telling me they have a daughter. If you're still confused, I suggest you have a long, hard think about what you've done. Who knows? Maybe you can use this as an opportunity to become a better person and avoid screwing up so badly with whoever comes next.
I can't believe this. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Sure, maybe I wasn't totally honest about everything, but we're supposed to be getting married tomorrow. Can't we just let bygones be bygones and focus on the future, on the rest of our lives together?
What are you talking about? Are you insane? The fact that you think lying to me like this isn't a big deal is almost more worrying than the fact you did it in the first place.
But
I don't want to hear your buts. I need to deal with the more pressing matter of telling all of the guests tomorrow's wedding is off. I already told your mom about it.
no, wait, just wait.
Sure, I'll wait. Until you find a lawyer. I'm done speaking to you, so all further communications will go through the official channels.
No, please, don't do this. I'm begging you, baby. Can't we just talk this through like mature, responsible adults before making hasty decisions in the heat of the moment? Don't throw away what we have.
Goodbye.
Tony, please don't do this. I'll do anything. Just give me another chance.
Hey, Mom. Thanks for introducing me to your lawyer friend. He's really good. And I feel a whole lot more relaxed about this whole thing for having him around.
Will you be able to break off the engagement without issue then?
Yeah, it's actually way simpler than I expected it to be. I can't understate how helpful Carly's mom agreeing to cooperate with me has been. I really owe her one. If the lawyer manages to get the compensation documents sent off today, I should get all of the money I asked for within a few days in one lump sum. Oh, and I'll also be charging her for the wedding cancellation fee. It's not as much as I thought it would be, but it's still only right that she covers it.
I'm pleased to hear things are going well, son. I was worried things might get dragged out.
But still, I can't believe it. Carly's mom's been living on the same road Beth goes to school on all this time.
Right. We never really go that way unless we're taking her to school, right?
Exactly. If not for the changes they made to the school districts this year, we'd literally never go to that part of town. I feel awful about having put Beth through all this, but I'm super grateful she helped open my eyes to who the person I was about to marry actually was. I owe her a lot, and I fully intend to let her know what a special little girl she is.
Right, she's been very brave. How about you take her to Disney World as a little reward? I'm sure she'll forget the whole thing in a heartbeat as soon as her favorite theme park is mentioned. Didn't they just open a bunch of new rides based on their mascot, a Flicky Mouse? He's Beth's favorite, right? She has so many posters up in her room, I'm sure she'll jump at the opportunity for a day out there with her dad.
I like the way you think, Mom. Let's do it! You want to come with?
Are you sure you don't mind?
You're the one who told me what Beth had to say when I was in the process of plunging head first into one of the worst decisions of my life, Mom. The least I can do is treat you to a day out at the theme park. You have no idea how grateful I am. Seriously, thank you.
Oh, it's nothing, really. But still, you're right. It's time you reevaluated your choices in women, son. I don't like to get involved in these things, but I can't help but notice a pattern. This is the third woman who's turned out to be no good, isn't it?
Ah, you're right, when you put it like that.
I know you'll probably be focusing on looking after Beth for the time being, but mark my words, son, if and when you do find another girlfriend, I'll be hiring a private investigator.
I'll bear that in mind.
Tony, I have some super good news for you. It turns out we can get married now. I put my daughter up for adoption. There's nothing standing in the way of our love now, so what do you say? Let's get married. Oh, by the way, where are you living these days? I stopped by your apartment, but it was totally empty and had a for rent sign outside. I spoke to one of the neighbors and they told me you moved a little while back. Hello? Are you there? Go on, tell me your new address. Tony, hurry up and tell me your new address so we can be together, baby.
It's been a few months since the divorce now. As you saw, apparently Carly put her daughter up for adoption. My jaw almost hit the floor in stupefaction when I read the messages, so I decided to have the lawyer I used at the time of the divorce get confirmation from Carly's mom just in case. We found out that it was, in fact, Carly's estranged mom and dad who encouraged her to put her daughter up for adoption, because they knew better than anyone how unfit she was to be a mom. It seems like Carly was happy to get rid of her daughter, because she thought it'd mean me and her could get back together and we could finally get married. But by then, I'd moved back in with my mom in our hometown to focus on looking after Beth. I got a new job working from home from my laptop, and the three of us are having a great time together. Even in spite of me making it abundantly clear I never wanted to see my ex-fiancé again, she insisted on bombarding my phone number, email, and my mom's mailbox with letters begging for my forgiveness. With that, I told my lawyer to tell her in no uncertain terms that if she carried on harassing me, I'd be forced to take legal action. That same day, Carly was being broadcast on local news, smashing up my lawyer's office with a sledgehammer before being tased by police and taken away in handcuffs. Something tells me her future ain't gonna be so bright. Thanks for watching, folks. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. Did Carly get what she deserved in the end? Let us know in the comments. We can't wait to see you again next time.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Oh, hey there. Good morning, Monica. Are you going to work in those worn-out old rags that look like a 20-year-old present from your grandma again today, you broke loser? Hey, Roxanne. I'm pretty sure my clothes fall under office casual, and they're definitely not worn out. Anyway, what do the clothes I choose to wear to work have to do with you? It's not like I'm causing you any problems. Oh dear, what a shame. I see you still have precisely zero self-awareness. Your very existence is a problem when you go to work looking homeless every day, dear. How am I a problem? You walk around the neighborhood dressed like a broke loser, radiating the intolerable stench of poverty. Every time I walk past you, I have to pinch my nose. If I'm not careful, I could become poor like you just by being in your vicinity. It really is time you learn to have a little self-awareness, dear. If you don't get on top of your stench soon, the entire neighborhood will be wearing nose plugs. I have no idea what makes you think I'm a broke loser who radiates the smell of poverty, but me and my family really don't struggle with money as much as you seem to think we do. Are you joking? I've seen your house, dear. You're nothing but a broke part-time housewife who lives in a shabby, run-down ground floor apartment in the rough part of town. Excuse me? You obviously had no choice but to live there because the rent is dirt cheap and you couldn't afford anywhere more respectable. The place is so beat up, I wouldn't be surprised if the roof leaked every time it rained. You must have to walk around on your tiptoes to avoid the 200-year-old floor creaking. You seem to be making a bunch of huge misunderstandings here, Roxanne. I don't know why you think I work part-time, but I don't. As for the apartment, it was fully renovated 5 years ago. Nothing in there is 200 years old. Huh? It originally belonged to my husband's parents. He inherited it when his dad passed away 5 years back. His mom, who still lives with us now, suffered a fall and hurt her leg not too long afterwards, which ended up with her having to live in a wheelchair. So we had it reformed into a barrier-free, one-story bungalow to make her life there as easy and stress-free as possible. Around the same time, my husband also bought the house next door, which had been vacant for years, then had the connecting wall demolished to almost double the floor space. Even despite all that, buying the house, hiring the builders, paying for the materials, insuring the place, having wheelchair access facilities fitted, we still never struggled for cash. Wow. Basically, because you went on a foolishly irresponsible spending spree that was well beyond what you could afford, you're now a broke loser groveling around in the depths of soul-crushing poverty and despair. I guess everyone's definitions for poverty are probably different, but at least from where I'm standing, I don't feel like we're poor. That's only because you're too poor to have ever known what it's like to possess large amounts of money, my dear. I knew it. Without the sagely advice of someone highly respected, loved, and accomplished like myself, the wife of a CEO, you're not even capable of making even the bare minimum of decisions required to get by in life. You really are the most tragic human being I've ever met. You'll have to excuse me, but I have work soon, so I'm gonna have to head off. It's okay, dear, I understand. You'll get fired if you don't do as your boss tells you. I get it. It must really suck to be poor. But, Monica, really, I do at least think you should make the effort not to let your poor coworkers catch wind of the foul stench of your poverty. Everyone will be too grossed out to work and productivity will be down across the board. Oh, that reminds me. Me and the other moms from kindergarten are throwing a New Year's party this Saturday. It'll be held at my apartment. You know, the top floor apartment of the luxury apartment building overlooking the river on 5th Street. But of course, no broke losers will be invited. I can't wait to look down on your pathetic papier-mâché cockroach den from the balcony of my luxury apartment while we sip our $10,000 champagne. We'll be so high up above you, your pitiful excuse of an apartment will look like nothing more than a piece of garbage. Oh, did I tell you our $10,000 champagne will contain specks of gold dust? I know you couldn't possibly imagine what it's like to indulge in such sophisticated extravagance, but hopefully these messages aren't making you too jealous. Oh, of course, if you're absolutely desperate to come to my New Year's party and find out how the chosen few live, you need to get rid of that stench of poverty you radiate by moving up in the world until you make at least $100K a year. Only then will I consider sending you an invite. What on earth do you think you're playing at, Monica? Why would you come to my New Year's party? I made it very clear you weren't welcome. Why would you go out of the way to bug me over messages when we're at the same party? If you have a problem with me, come and say it to my face, Roxanne. That doesn't answer my question. What does a poverty-stricken loser like you think she's doing at a party of a CEO's wife? Anyway, what gives you the right to let yourself into my apartment like this? The roof of this building is a sacred place for the upper crust of society, life's winners like me. Poor people don't belong here, and you're not welcome. Think you had the nerve to bring your husband with you, too. I have no idea how you managed to get past security. But I'd rather you didn't stink out my luxury apartment with the rotten stench of your poverty. I'm going to have to spray some air freshener because of you. What a surprise that was! I genuinely have no idea how a broke loser like you ended up getting into my invite-only party, or what made you think you had the right to come in the first place for that matter. I made it very clear you were only to come if you made more than $100K a year. That didn't give you any right to pour a bottle of champagne over my head. You unlawfully entered my apartment and you paid the price. I didn't do anything wrong. I was merely defending my property. Besides, I poured that bottle of champagne over your head out of kindness. Kindness? I figured if I could drench you in champagne, it might help get rid of the stench of poverty that follows you around wherever you go. But thanks to your illegal entry into my apartment, my luxury top-of-the-range Persian rug is covered in champagne now. I'll have you know that rug cost $7,000. If you don't compensate me for the damage you've done, I'll be forced to take extreme measures. Obviously, this should go without saying, but a cleaning won't do it. You've ruined the fabric forever, so you need to buy me a brand new rug. I know $7,000 probably amounts to a year's wages for the likes of a broke depth groveler like yourself. And I wouldn't be surprised if you even had to move out of your cockroach-infested apartment and live on the streets to come up with the money, but you should have thought about that before you spoiled my rug. Listen to me, Roxanne. You don't seem to be aware of this, but it was your husband who invited me and my husband. Huh? Initially, we were only supposed to be paying him a visit in his office on the second floor to make a few inquiries. But when we arrived, he told us he had some urgent business to attend to and apologetically invited us to wait for an hour upstairs in your apartment. He appeared to know that me and you are kindergarten acquaintances, so I guess he figured it'd make sense to invite me to your New Year's party to kill some time while he dealt with whatever stuff he had going on. He came up with us in the elevator, let us in, and showed us to the living room before disappearing off somewhere in a hurry. Huh? But what reason could you and your husband possibly have for visiting my husband's company? Your husband said he'd be messaging you about that. Huh? Haven't you heard anything from him? I don't know, maybe in a message or an email? Well, hold on, let me check. Oh my God, what in the Lord's name is happening? Monica, you're the president of my husband's company's biggest client company? In the hell? How haven't I heard about this before? That's not all. What the hell are you doing living in a tiny ground floor apartment with a job like that? I thought you were broke. Excuse me? Let me get this straight. You thought I was poor because I live in a ground floor apartment? Who lives in ground floor apartments apart from broke losers? Everyone knows celebrities and successful people live on the top floor so they can look down on the peasants. Ah, I see. So that's why you went out of your way to get an apartment on the top floor, huh? Because in your mind, being that high up is the ultimate form of status symbol? What, are you saying it's not a status symbol? Of course, everyone's free to have their own ideas about the world. But I personally don't see any link between the altitude of someone's house and their value as a human being. And if I'm honest, I think that's a very shallow and superficial way of looking at the world. What the heck are you talking about? I did tell you this before, but my mother-in-law lives with me and my husband. She lives in a wheelchair, so it was a must that our place not have any stairs. That's why we bought the vacant house next door, had the second floors of both houses demolished, and had it converted into a big, spacious, barrier-free bungalow. Anyway, haven't you heard? Bungalows are in fashion these days. All the celebs and successful people are buying them. Oh my God, are they really? Hey, what's this crap I'm hearing about you terminating your contract with my husband's company? I take it your husband explained the situation to you then? My contract with your husband's company is terminated with immediate effect. Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this just because I poured a bottle of champagne over your head as a joke. You have no right to drag my husband into this. This crosses the line. No way. Do you think that's the only reason I'm doing this? Huh? But my husband just called. He was furious. He said this was all happening because of my rude attitude at the New Year's party and that I had to apologize to you immediately. Listen, Roxanne, I'm not going to pretend you pouring a bottle of champagne over my head in front of everyone at your New Year's party has nothing to do with the contract termination. You mean there's another reason? I don't know how your husband explained it to you, but the reason me and my husband visited your husband's office on the second floor was to notify him we were terminating the contract. It was already decided at that point. What? I don't know how much of this I should tell you, since as far as I'm aware, you don't have anything to do with the management of your husband's company. But to summarize, I got sick of his failure to meet deadlines, the constant issues with quality when shipments did arrive, and not to mention the horrendous attitude his employees gave me when I tried raising the issues with them. He and his company have been impossible to work with these last 6 months, and it reached the point where I simply couldn't overlook it anymore because it was interfering with our ability to provide quality to our customers. If I'd let it continue, I am almost certain it would have had knock-on effects for our reputation and revenues. After lengthy discussions with my husband, who's responsible for client meetings, and other executives within our company, I decided we had no choice but to terminate the contract. To be honest, I had already made up my mind, but there was a small chance I'd have been willing to negotiate with your husband if he showed sincerity in wanting to improve. Until you poured champagne over my head, that is. With that, I resolved to wash my hands of the both of you for good. Oh my God! Wait, hang on a second. No way! Oh, surely all this stuff with my husband is just business. Why throw away our friendship too? Now I know you're rich and successful and that me and you are on the same level, we can grow closer than ever before. The same level as you? I get that you might be upset with my husband's company, but why throw away a friendship in the process? It seems like such a waste. Won't you rethink this, please, Monica? I can't say I was ever the type to link people's value as human beings to how much money they have, but I know that you take great pleasure in it. Which is why you should know that once your husband loses this contract, which accounts for over 80% of his sales, the future of his company probably isn't gonna look so bright. What? I advise you to consider the implications of that before talking to him. Monica! Could you please lend me some money? Say what now? I'm sure you've already heard, but my husband's company went bankrupt. Yeah, I may have heard a thing or two about that. Well, this means we're not going to be able to carry on living in this luxury high-rise apartment. You mean you're not going to be able to keep up with the rent? Yes. My husband's unemployed after his company went bankrupt, so he has to start from scratch and find a new job. Which is why I'd really appreciate if you could lend me just enough to cover the rent on this apartment. How about you just move somewhere more appropriate for your level of income instead of begging for money? Your husband's parents are looking after your son right now, right? So you either need to ask really nicely and hope one of your parents will let you move in with them until you get back on your feet, or if that doesn't work out, find a new job with a company that provides employee accommodation. No, I can't do that. Me? Work a job? Oh my God. It's not right that a woman of my status should have to associate with the peasants and work a normal person job. My status demands that I live on the top floor. Sure, I might have lost my title as CEO's wife, but that's just all the more reason I can't afford to lose this high-rise apartment. Listen, Roxanne, the thing is... You're going to lend me some money? Have you taken a shower lately? Huh? Do you wash your clothes? What the hell kind of questions are these? A close friend of mine lives in the same apartment block as you, but she told me that every time she walks past the housewife from the top floor, she has to hold her nose because she smells so bad. She said she gets the impression you're trying to cover up the smell by drenching your entire body in perfume. She says the smell resembles something like a mixture of your natural body odor and something that can only be described as not belonging to this world. Oh my God, do I smell that bad? Yes, you really smell that bad. Apparently the smell is so awful that the company managing the apartments are currently in the process of writing up their claim against you because of the distress your stench is causing the rest of the residents. No, it's not me. They're mistaking me for someone else. That's funny because when I asked her for your room number, she gave me yours. No, there has to be some kind of mistake. I really think you should do something about this, Roxanne, and sooner rather than later. No, I do not smell! I did wonder for a second whether the culprit behind the rotten stench might be Roxanne's husband, but it turned out that by that point, he'd already moved back in with his parents who lived 10 minutes away, which meant that the only one left behind in that foul-smelling room was Roxanne, all alone and with nothing left but her wounded pride. As for why the place smelled so bad, I found out later that the utilities got cut as a result of their failure to pay the rent, which in the middle of the summer in a place this hot is never going to end well. Even in spite of that, Roxanne, whose sense of self-esteem seemed entirely dependent on her living on the top floor of a luxury apartment block, defiantly stayed behind for a short while despite receiving several eviction notices. Eventually, though, she lost her nerve and moved out. I don't know whether it was because of the constant complaints from the neighbors, but they must have been elated when they found out she was gone. With that, she moved in with her husband and his parents. In desperate need of cash, she was forced to get a part-time job at a nearby supermarket. which is where she now spends her days doing the bare minimum of work to get by while riddled with chronic self-esteem issues due to her intolerably putrescent body odor. Thanks for watching, folks. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to prove what a boss you are by liking and subscribing. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We can't wait to see you again next time.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Ellen, have you finished packing up your things yet? I don't want to rush you, but time is of the essence. It doesn't seem like you've been making any progress at all. I'm getting worried you won't be finished in time. Huh? Packing up my things? What are you talking about? Are we going on vacation or something? I don't remember talking about that. Oh, you can't be serious. May's moving back in so I can help take care of her after the baby is born. So obviously you're going to have to move out. I thought we were on the same page. Wait, what? May's moving back in? This is the first I've ever heard of this. You never said anything to me. Oh, come now, dear. There's no way you weren't aware. I told my son to tell you about it myself, so I don't want to hear any of your excuses. Unless, are you telling me that Nate didn't talk to you? No, Mom. He hasn't said a single thing to me. I told you, this is the first I'm hearing of this. So please tell me what's going on. I did hear that May was pregnant. I knew that much. But now you're telling me she's moving in? I don't believe it. You mean you really didn't know? Oh, Nate told me that he talked to you about it, and you were fine with it. He told me he would handle everything, so I thought everything was in order. How could I possibly be fine with something I knew nothing about? How long has this been in the works? When did this conversation happen? Well, let me think. The first time May mentioned she wanted to move back in was, I believe, around a month ago or so. She said the doctor told her she was at a heightened risk for premature labor. So she wanted to move in here so that I could help her relax up until the birth. Her husband is always quite busy with work, and his parents live quite a ways away. So when I talked to Nate about it, he said he would talk to you. And it wasn't but a few hours after that he told me you two had a conversation and that you said you were fine with it. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I had no idea you weren't aware. I feel terrible now. She gave you 1 month's notice for wanting to move in with us? Jeez. This is not the kind of thing you can just drop on somebody with only a month's notice. Isn't there anywhere else she could go but here? I understand that she tried, but there was nowhere else that she could stay. Believe me, this is all very sudden for me as well. Well, yeah, I suppose it's going to be quite an imposition on you, too. But wait, you're telling me that we're the ones who need to be packing up our things? Do you mean she's going to be staying on our side of the duplex? Why wouldn't she be staying in yours? There would be more empty space over there. Well, no, she'll be spending most of the time over here with me. But she says that she wants you and Nate to move out of your unit while she's here. What? Oh, just until the baby's born and she recovers from the birth. She said it would be for the best if you two could rent an apartment or a condo somewhere for a while. Not forever. Again, just until things settle down. Are you being serious right now? What in the world? She really said that? Why on earth would we have to move out of our own house? I'd say May would feel bad about imposing on you if you were around the house. She wouldn't want you to feel like you had to wait on her. And having an energetic 2-year-old around a new mother could be, well, somewhat stressful. Stress isn't good for a pregnant woman, you know. It's hard on the baby as well. That's her reason? That's why she wants us to move out of our own house? What, does she think it'll be easy on us to have to make a sudden move like this with a 2-year-old? That's insane. And what does she mean, until things settle down? That's an incredibly vague period of time. Are we talking a few months, a year, or even more? Who's going to take care of the house in that time? Who's going to pay for utilities, the mortgage? Not to mention she's kicking us out of our own home, so who's going to pay for our moving expenses? Well, as for the housework, I talked to Nate about that. He said you would be able to stop by a few times a week and take care of everything. He also told me that you would be willing to drive May to the hospital and back for her pre- and postnatal checkups. Are you kidding me? And for financial matters, he said it would be a sort of early baby shower gift for her. He said that the two of you would cover all the expenses, both for yourselves and May. I'm sorry, dear, but Nate told me that you had discussed all of this and that you were just as enthusiastic about it as he was. I'm going to have a little talk with him later on, but for the time being, let me just tell you this much. May is not going to be able to move into our house. We have a 2-year-old child. We can't just move on a whim like this, and I can't be taking care of the housework for 2 households. It's simply delusional to think a scheme like that would ever work out in reality. Not to mention, I have a job to do myself. I'm sorry, but this just isn't going to work. You'll have to tell May that she needs to find another arrangement. What? I can't tell her no, not at this point in time. She's going to move in this weekend. This weekend? That's only 5 days from now. Well, yes, I know. That's why I asked you if you had made the necessary preparations for the move a little bit ago. Helen, I'm sure you can find some way to make this work, can't you? After all, we've already told May that she can come. She's made her own preparations too. We can't just make her up and change plans at this point. I'm sure it'll be difficult for her, but I'm just looking at reality here. This is just not going to work. It can't happen. Anyway, like I said, I was not in the loop for any of this information. I'm going to have a talk with Nate now. He has a lot of explaining to do. Nate, we need to have a talk now. I just heard from your mom that May is going to be moving into our house this weekend. Would you mind telling me more? And by more, I mean anything? Seeing as how you never told me about this in the first place.
Oops. Sorry, babe. I guess I forgot to run that by her.
You forgot? You forgot? You forgot that she's moving into our house in just 5 days? You forgot about this little minor detail for an entire month? You forgot that we have to find a new place to live for the entire time she's living here? You forgot that you promised my services as a housekeeper and chauffeur to her for that entire time? You forgot to tell me all about that?
Look, I said I was sorry, but I've been meaning to talk to you about it, I really have. But I just felt like if I asked you about it, that you'd say no for sure.
Of course I would say no to that nonsense. What was your plan here? What were you going to do if your mom just didn't drop that bomb on me a little while ago? Were you just going to have May show up at the door and be like, "Oh, by the way..."
Come on, don't treat me like I'm a total idiot. I obviously made preparations for us to leave the house. I was going to talk to you within the next few days, maybe even today or tomorrow. I just forgot, that's all. What, have you never forgotten anything?
Don't pretend like being ready or not is the issue. The issue is that you went and made all of these insane promises behind my back. Why does May have no other choice than to move into our house to take care of the baby? Why can't she go anywhere else? This is our house. She has her own house.
Well, that's because Mum's going to be helping her out while she recovers from the birth. Since Mum lives in the other part of our duplex, that means May has to come here, obviously. Mum sold her old house when she moved in with us, so she can't go there.
I am aware of the fact that your mom sold her old house and moved in with us when your dad died. I get it. She's getting up there in years and she's insecure living completely on her own. I get that. She's not in bad enough health to require round-the-clock care like in a nursing home, so it makes sense for her to live close to us like this. I understand that and agreed to it when we moved into this duplex. But once again, Nate, that's not the issue here. The issue is May moving in here. Please, for the love of God, will you explain to me why she has to move in here?
What do you want, Helen? Do you want May to have to deal with giving birth and taking care of her baby all by herself? Oh, don't forget you stayed with your parents when you gave birth. You think you deserve that, but May doesn't? You think you're special or something? Try putting yourself in her shoes.
First of all, you are comparing apples to oranges. The circumstances are completely different. But let's just say for a moment that I was in the same position May is in now. If my parents had sold their house and moved in with my brother and his wife, then unless there was some sort of insanely unlikely extenuating circumstance, I would simply take care of myself and have my husband do whatever I needed in order to make things work. But apparently May hasn't even thought about that possibility. And then her reasoning, are you kidding me? She thinks having other people in the house would be stressful for her? Why do we have to allow ourselves to get kicked out of our own house? Why do I have to give up my lifestyle to cater to May's selfish whims? Don't even get me started on having to do the housework and take her to her checkups. Doesn't all of that seem just a little bit, I don't know, ridiculous to you, Nate?
Hey, don't talk about May like she's some kind of squatter swooping in and stealing our house. She has a lot on her mind right now. The doctor even told her she's at risk of going into labour prematurely. All she wants is to be close to Mum so Mum can take care of her. You're a mother yourself, Helen. You understand exactly how hard on a woman's body childbirth is. So come on, you can help her out with the housework, can't you? That won't be too much of a burden. And hey, you can think of this as a good chance for you and May to finally develop a positive relationship. What do you say, Helen? Think you can make a teensy little sacrifice for me?
A chance to become besties with May? A teensy little sacrifice?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've never even spoken to each other. After that big blow-up you two had all the way back when, right? That puts me in a really difficult position, Helen. I'm torn between my sister and my wife. Maybe the two of you can bond over mummy stuff. You know, like changing nappies and other mummy stuff.
What is the matter with you? I cannot believe what I'm reading right now. You call what happened a blow-up? Do you remember what that woman did to me? You introduced me to your family for the first time, and she immediately started insulting me in every possible way she could think of. She threw hot coffee on me, kicked me under the table, and pushed me out the door when I left. And then, after we sent out the wedding invites, you remember that, right? She started calling all the invitees and lied to them that the date had been changed. Then she came to the wedding plastered drunk and tried to throw a bottle of wine at me. After we got married, she used the key we left with your parents to break into our house and steal our stuff. Don't tell me you forgot the time she almost got away with selling my mother's heirloom diamond necklace to a pawn shop. If your dad hadn't driven by just in time to put a stop to the deal, I would have lost it forever. Oh, and then there's the time she tried to dump me in the middle of nowhere while I was pregnant with our son. Wasn't that an adorable little prank? She told me that your mom had been in an accident and we needed to rush to the scene and help her, then tried to kick me out of the car on the side of the highway. If that cop hadn't seen the scene and asked what was going on, we might have lost our son, Nate. But it didn't stop there. Remember when she came to the hospital after the birth? Remember the things she said to our son? "Wow, you look just like your mother. Ugly as hell, you poor thing." Those were her words, right? After that, I'd had enough of her. I told her exactly how I felt and that I didn't want to see her ever again. And you call that a blow-up? It was a long, continuous stream of unilateral verbal and physical abuse. I seem to remember you being pretty angry back then. Did you forget about that too?
No, I definitely remember that. No, I told her that she's been totally out of line, because she was being out of line. She was going through a really difficult time back then, though. I mean, you're a woman too. You know, women have their phases, right? Look at her now. She's married and she's having a baby. She's a totally different person. She's really turned her life around. I bet she feels really bad for everything she did back then.
If she really felt bad, I think a better way to show it would be to come and tell me that she was sorry to my face. Rather than, kicking me out of my own house and demanding I be her maid. So no, Nate, I don't think she's changed at all. Not in the slightest.
Oh, come on, Helen. She's my sister.
Sister or not, I'm putting my foot down. She is not moving in here. I never want to see her again for as long as I live. Call her up right now and tell her the plan has changed and she's not moving in.
Helen, you know I can't do that. Not this late in the game. She's been operating under the assumption that you'd be taking care of her for a month now. I can't cancel on her at the last minute.
Nate, this is all your fault. Take responsibility. You volunteered my services without even asking me. That's the worst part of this, for me. I don't care how hard it might be to cancel on her. Do it. Do it right now.
Helen, please, don't be so cold to my sister. She's family, and family has to take care of each other. May's already gotten everything ready to move here this weekend. I already signed a lease for a nice little apartment that's not too far away from here.
Oh my God, you did?
Of course I did. Need to move in 5 days. It's only going to be a year and some change. How bad could it be? If you want, I'll make May apologise to you for all that stuff she did. Okay, we're going to be together for a while, so let's try to get along. I'll give you the address for our apartment in a bit. Can you arrange for our stuff to be delivered there? there's not much time left, so do it right away. Okay? Gotta get back to work. Talk to you later. Thanks, Helen.
Hey there, ugly bitch. Long time no see. My stuff's gonna get there today, so make sure you get it all organized. Oh, and make sure the house is clean. Like, super clean. You're a sloppy homemaker, and I don't want to get any weird infection from you. So, disinfect everything in the house. Got it? Hello there, May. I see you haven't changed one bit over the last few years. Nate's the one who'll be cleaning your room, not me. So if you have any special requests, tell him. What? Oh my god, I feel so sorry for my brother. He's stuck with a lazy loser like you for a wife. Why didn't he divorce you? Like, seriously. I mean, here I am, your husband's own sister, coming over to your house, and this is the way you're gonna talk to me? Forget divorce. If I were Nate, I'd hire a hitman. Yep, you haven't changed a bit. Ugh, that sour attitude of yours is exactly why I didn't want that little brat around me. Any kid raised by you is 100% gonna be a total monster. Just the sight of you would raise my stress levels higher than I could stand. Make sure there aren't any family pictures up or anything. Oh, and I told Mom and Nate to make this clear to you, but just in case, you need to wear a mask when you come here to clean. I don't care about the flu or anything, I just don't want to see your face. Get in, get the chores done, and get the hell out. Oh, and that rule also applies for when you're taking me to the doctor. I don't want anyone to know I'm associating with someone as ugly as you. As you wish. I'm leaving just like you wanted. My sons and my things have already been taken out of the house. You can make yourself at home. That's a good, obedient girl. Looks like you finally understand where you rank around here. God, how pathetic can you get? No matter what I do or say to you, Mom and Nate may put up a facade of outrage. But in the end, they're both on my side. I win, you lose. I get everything, you get nothing. I get this sweet house, you get some cramped apartment. Oh, and I bet Mom and Nate told you it was gonna just be for a year or so, right? Yeah, about that. I think I might stick around a little longer. Like, I don't know, forever. After all, it's my mom's house, and that means it's my house. Anyway, enjoy life in your crappy little apartment. I can't wait to stretch out my legs and relax on that big sofa you bought. This is what you get for not divorcing my brother when you had the chance, you dumb bitch. Oh yeah, you got me. You got me real good. Is that all you wanted to say to me? I'm actually pretty busy with moving over here, so if you're done, I'll be getting back to work now. Bye, May. Aw, look at you, trying to put on a brave face and pretend like I haven't completely destroyed you. You're not fooling anyone.
Helen, where are you? Answer your phone already. What are you doing right now? You need to call me as soon as you see this.
What do you want? I don't want to hear your voice right now. If you need something, just text me.
Helen, why are you talking to me like that? But more importantly, where are you? The door's locked and my key doesn't work. You need to get over here fast.
Sorry, no can do. I'm at my parents' house with our son. I'm going to be staying over here for the foreseeable future. Probably at least a year or so.
What? Wait, what?
My dad hurt his back the other day, you see. He's gonna need help around the house and also with getting to and from the hospital for his checkups. He's too heavy for my mom to pick him up by herself, so she needs me here to look after him with her. So I'll just keep going to work like normal while staying here overnight.
What's wrong with you, Helen? How can you do that without saying anything to me first?
You know, Nate, I meant to tell you. Really, I did. But I forgot. I mean, I just knew that if I asked you about it, you'd say no, so I never got around to it. Oops.
What? Are you mocking me? Oh, that's beside the point right now. Why isn't my key working?
What, did you think I was going to leave home without locking the door behind me? I have to be a responsible homeowner, Nate. This is kindergarten level stuff. Oh, and about the locks, in a total coincidence, they broke yesterday. I had them replaced. I was going to tell you about that too, but I forgot again. Oops, sorry.
Helen, this is not funny. What's the matter with you? You can't just make these major decisions by yourself like that without asking me first. May is here, ready to move in, but we can't open the door. She was ready to finally get some well-deserved rest and relaxation, but now we have to go back in the car and drive over to the apartment. Why are you doing this, Helen? Explain yourself right now.
What are you complaining about? All I did was follow your family rules.
My family's rules? What?
Yes, your rules. You've made it very clear what your family's rules are over the last several years. According to your family's rules, when one spouse wants to do something that the other spouse will likely object to, you just do it without asking them. Especially if it's for family. Family has to look out for each other, right? And once one spouse makes a decision, the other spouse has to go along with it. And that's exactly what I just did. I followed your rules to a T. My dad hurt his back and needed help. So I dropped everything and went to help him. I have to help my dear father.
I don't believe this. Really, Helen? Is this all some sort of childish revenge thing for you?
Revenge? Don't be silly. I was just following your rules. Or are you saying you realize what you did was wrong?
What? No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Uh-huh. You decided that your sister would move in with us. You decided that we would move out of our own house. You decided that I would be the one who had to take care of your sister. And when you finally talked to me about it and I said no, you ignored me. You signed a lease for an apartment. You started getting ready to move. You did all of this on your own accord because your sister needed help. And since you still don't seem to think you did anything wrong, that must mean those are your family's rules, right? So I followed your rules. I moved in with my parents to help them out while my dad recovers.
Oh, come on. You're being way too hyperbolic about everything. After all, it might have been a little late, sure, but I did talk to you about everything, right?
A little late is doing a lot of work in that sentence. But in any case, while you may have talked to me 5 days before she came, I never once agreed. And as for me, I told May that I would leave. However, I didn't say one single solitary thing to her about taking care of her. I have no obligation to do something that I never agreed to. But honestly, I'd say this is actually for everyone's benefit. May said that just seeing my face sent her stress levels skyrocketing, and I feel the same exact way about May.
Well, why didn't you tell me you felt so strongly about May? If you would have talked to me, we could have found a way to work things out.
I did tell you. Scroll up, Nate. Look at the conversation we had 5 days ago. I told you in detail all about the worst things that she's done to me. I told you, in no unclear terms, that I never wanted to see her again for as long as I live. And what did you have to say in reply? That you think she's turned her life around? Guess what? She texted me 2 days ago, and do you know what words she greeted me with after 2 years of turning her life around? Hey there, ugly bitch. I took a screenshot and sent it to you. You saw it, right?
Yeah, I did. But come on, Helen, give me a break. Can't you give this a chance? Why don't you come by the apartment and we can all talk things out like adults?
Your refusal to talk things out like adults is exactly what got us into this mess. I have been trying for days now to talk things out like adults. But every day this week, you've either had overtime or drinks with your colleagues or some other dumb excuse. And your mom went on a conveniently timed 5-day vacation with her friends. Neither of you have been home for the last 5 days.
Those weren't excuses. I really was busy.
Oh, I have no doubt you are making yourself busy looking for excuses to avoid me. You've had 1 whole month to talk to me since this whole story began. I know what you were thinking, Nate. You were thinking it was only a matter of time. You expected that if you could avoid me for long enough that I'd just agree to everything. And if I said no, you didn't care. All your talk about compromise and little sacrifices, all of that was just a facade. You were just buying time for me to completely give in to you. Seriously, what kind of a pathetic weakling do you think I am? I am sick and tired of you, your sister, your mom. I'm sick of everything. May's had 2 years to grow up, but in all honesty, I think she's become even more of a psycho than she was before.
What do you want from me, Helen? I told you I was sorry for not talking to you. Now stop acting like I'm some kind of passive-aggressive, patronising husband. I'm not. That was not my intent at all. Maybe you have a bit of a point. Maybe I was taking advantage of your kindness, sure. But it was never my intent to hurt you, insult you, impose upon you, or anything like that. So, look, I'm sorry for that, for trying to take advantage of you. But seriously? Locking us out of the house? That's taking things way too far. It's not just your house, Helen. It's our house. You, me, and Mum.
I suppose you're right. It isn't just my house. Originally, my grandparents lived in that duplex along with my uncle and aunt. And right now, it's actually still in my mom's name. We were always just borrowing it from her anyway.
Wait.
What's the matter? Did you forget that too? Boy, you sure have a convenient memory, don't you? Back when your mom wanted to move in with us, I was the one who asked my mom for permission. But then you went and invited your sister to come and live there without even asking me for permission. Do you have any idea how angry my parents are right now at both you and your sister? Oh, and that reminds me, I have a message from them for you, your mom, and your sister. We won't sit idly by and let you take advantage of us. Your sister's got her own house, she can live there, and you can live with her. That sounds like a great idea to me. You can all live with May and her husband, and you can do all their housework.
Helen, let's be reasonable now. We're husband and wife. We can't live in separate houses. Are you really going to live over there for a whole year, please? Helen, come home.
I was actually thinking about staying here longer than just a year. A lot longer. Maybe even forever.
No, you can't be serious. You're not going to divorce me, are you?
I've been thinking about it.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'll tell May she can't stay with us. And I'll make her apologise for everything she's ever done to you. But I'm begging you, please don't divorce me.
Let me ask you a question, Nate. Do you know precisely what I'm angry about right now? If at this point you still don't know what the real issue is, then there's just no hope for you. You say you're going to make May apologize? Great, but this doesn't end there. You're just as guilty as she is. You know that, right?
Yeah, sure I do. I'm very, very aware of how precisely I've hurt you, Helen. And for that precise reason, I'm very, very sorry. I can't express enough how sorry I am for that. So, you gonna come home now?
Nope. It's been so long since my parents have seen their grandson, they look like they're 20 years younger, they're so happy. They went to a lot of effort to get ready for me to stay with them. I couldn't tell them I'm leaving already, it would break their poor hearts. So no, I intend to stay here for 1 year just like I promised. And during that year, I'll decide whether I'm gonna divorce you or not. Got that?
Yeah, I got it. Look, I'm really, really sorry for what I did, Helen. I truly regret doing the precise thing that you're angry about right now. I can't believe I was stupid enough to do a thing like that. I hope you can find it in your generous heart to forgive me for...
Well, if you're really sorry about that, then that's good. You'll have another year to think about exactly how sorry you are for that.
And
one more thing. I'm going to have to teach May a lesson that will teach her not to cross me ever again. You might get caught in the crossfire, just a heads up.
Okay.
Good morning, May. Did your husband stop by to see you? Look, you can hole yourself up in the apartment bathroom all you want, but you're gonna have to come out eventually. This is all your fault, you bitch! Why did you have to go and call my husband? And why the hell do you even know my husband's phone number? You're such an obnoxious old hag. Let's just say that I have a very thorough network of contacts. Friends of friends, you know. I won't tell you how exactly I got the information, but wow, you never cease to amaze me, May. Really, I'm astonished. Imagine my shock when I learned that your husband, drumroll please, has been out of the country for a year on business. It's an immaculate conception. Or is that just the overwhelming power of your husband's masculinity? He impregnated you from across the world? And if you think I was shocked, you should have heard your husband's reaction. I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! It was only a matter of time before he found out you were the talk of the town. After all, you're a married woman, and yet there was a constant string of young men coming and going from your house in the middle of the night. I understand you told your neighbors that you conceived while your husband made a quick trip back home, but, you know, I really don't think they bought it, May. No, I think they all knew what was really going on. Your husband is set to come back home next month, right? Is that why you were so desperate to move in with us? To keep your husband from finding out for as long as possible? Well, unfortunately for you, after my conversation with him, he decided to cut his trip a wee bit short. Oops. Sorry about that, May. I hate you, you evil bitch! I'm gonna tell Nate and my mom what you did to me. He's gonna divorce your ass instantly. You're gonna regret this. I'll show you what happens when you piss me off, you ugly old geezer. Oh, well, if that's what you need to do, by all means, go ahead. Getting a divorce wouldn't be a problem for me in the slightest, seeing as I make about twice as much as Nate and I'm the family's primary breadwinner. Didn't you know? My dad's a real estate developer and he handed off a few properties to me so I could learn the ropes. Then once he passes away, I'll inherit the rest of his business. So Nate's the one desperate to avoid a divorce, not me. What? Oh, and speaking of money, there's something I need you to do for me. Give your mom a message from me as soon as you can. Tell her that even in the unlikely event Nate and I end up staying together, she is never, under any circumstances, going to come and live with us again. The second she gets too old to be able to take care of herself, I am tossing her carcass right into a nursing home. Did you write all of that down? I don't believe this! Just when I thought you couldn't stoop any lower, now you're throwing my mom out onto the curb after all she's done for you? I'd say the balance is pretty strongly in my favor. Actually, she begged us to let her move in with us because she was lonely, so we did. I was also paying about $300 to $400 a month for her living expenses. Out of my own paycheck, of course. Nate never paid anything. And how did she repay me? By helping you cover up your affair. She was fully aware that you were moving in with us with the sole intent to hide your love child from your husband. That's a pretty disgusting lie of omission that could have put me in an incredibly awkward position. And now, come to find out, her plan was ultimately to abandon the child completely and force me to take care of him. That's the kind of thing you only see in bad soap operas, but your mother actually came up with that evil plot. When Nate pushed her on it a while back, she spilled the beans on the whole thing. Do you think I would continue to allow such an amoral, vile person as that to live with me and my child? All she's done for you, all she's done to me, is the reason I'm kicking her out. Jeez, now I know where you picked up your evil nature. I guess that makes two traits you both share, evil and stupidity. If only you weren't as dumb as a box of rocks, maybe you might have gotten away with all of that. Don't you mock me like that, you ugly skank! I am gonna get you back for this, Helen. Mark my words, you will regret this. If I may make a bit of a recommendation, what if, instead of dedicating the rest of your life to getting back at me, you spent more time becoming a normal, moral human being? If you had done that sooner, you probably wouldn't have hit the self-destruct button on your life, and right now, you'd be living a happy life with your husband's child instead of... Well, come to think of it, do you even know which boyfriend is the father? Speaking of which, I think your husband might want to talk to you about your escapades while he was away. Good luck. Hope you know a decent lawyer. May's husband dragged her out of the bathroom she had locked herself in shortly after that. They went straight to his lawyer's office, where they reached a settlement for her multiple affairs and were officially divorced. He also sued all the men she slept with, there were a lot of them, and promptly got back to his work overseas. May eventually found out which one of them was the father and went to him for help. She apparently went directly to his parents and told them that she was pregnant with their grandchild and would put him up for adoption if they didn't take her in. Ordinarily, that's the kind of thing that would get you kicked out in an instant, but they were actually thrilled about the prospect of having a grandson. They agreed to pay off her legal debts to her ex-husband, and she moved in with them. May seemed confident she had finally escaped her problems, but then some new ones came into their place. Right after the baby was born, the baby was whisked away by her mother-in-law. She gave her an ultimatum. If she wanted to see her child, she would have to do all the housework and take care of their elderly parents. May then threatened to divorce her new husband, take the baby, and leave, but her in-laws countered with a threat to demand the repayment of the legal bills they paid for her. Checkmate. Her new husband wasn't much of a comfort either. As time went on, he was spending less and less time at home, leaving May completely alone. She calls Nate every once in a while when she wants to complain, but he ignores her calls most of the time now. I don't feel sorry for her at all. After all, this is exactly what she was trying to do to me. As for Nate's mom, she kept on living in the apartment that Nate had rented for us to live in. We're now waiting for the time to come to put her in a nursing home. She tried calling my parents to apologize for what she did and beg them to allow her to live in the duplex again. But when my kill her with kindness strategy worked just a little bit too well, she lost her mind in a fit of rage, ruining any chances at making amends with them. It's just like I told May on that day. She and her mom are two peas in a pod. Now, as for me and Nate, I'm happy to say that Nate finally came to see reason and has become like a brand new man. He gave me and my parents probably the most sincere apology I've ever seen, and promised to be the husband I deserved from now on. He comes by on weekends and days off to spend time with us, and we're starting to build our relationship back up one brick at a time. While I'm doing my best to stay vigilant, I genuinely believe that he's changed. I hope that by the time my stay with my parents ends, we'll be able to be a real family once again.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.